What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Crying in Baseball Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the big scandal going around the league. What do you think about it, Ashton?
Um, Personally, once again, I really don't think it's that big of a deal. I feel like a lot of pitchers do use foreign substances, and the guy who's suing isn't like suing the players; he's suing Major League Baseball for him getting fired because of it.
Mm-hmm.
He had to out the players, so he had evidence that he wasn't making money. He was just providing a service.
Yeah,
Uh, so obviously, there's some big name pitchers that are involved in this.
yeah,
Uh,
huge name pitchers.
yeah, and that's the thing. It's like it kind of makes it a big deal then because maybe these star pitchers are star pitchers because of the substance. Obviously, I think they're going to be great pitchers no matter what, and that's why it's not that big of a deal to me. But I still think like that they do need to, and obviously investigate this.
Yeah, I mean, this. I'm not necessarily surprised by it. A lot of people have been using, a little pine tar here, a little pine tar there. But I mean, we want to look at the list of the accused here, and you see pitchers like Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, Corey Kluber, Felix Hernandez, and in 2019, Verlander, Cy Young winner. 2017, Kluber, Cy Young winner. In 2014, Kluber, Cy Young Award winner. In 2013, Scherzer. In 2011, Verlander. In 2010, Hernandez. Like how long has this been going on? Because who who has this cheated the Cy Young out of, like, hypothetically speaking. Like, again, I don't really think that this is too big of a make or break thing, but it's significant when you look at these pitchers and you're kind of you're kind of shaking a little bit because I mean Scherzer still won at 17 and 16. Like that's very likely, what he very likely could have been doing it then. And with Cole, him and Verlander had Cy Young caliber seasons last year where Verlander won, Cole came in a close second. I mean that's big.
Yeah, this makes me hate the Astros even more than I already
Oh
did.
yeah,
But uh,
this isn't up to par with the Astros cheating scandal of last year, but this because this encompasses more players and more teams. But it's yeah, I this does not make me a fan of the Houston Astros.
yeah, because everyone thought the pitchers were innocent in this, like the whole stealing signs thing, and then you see this about
Hmm.
this substance. But obviously,
Yeah,
there's some like odd names that are mixed in there with like Edwin Jackson, Tyler Chatwood, and
yeah,
I know people are going to say, oh, it didn't help them because they weren't very good. But if you watch them, both of them have very like solid stuff. Like so, and I
yeah,
think that can be contributed to the substance. And like in terms of like how it affects these pitchers, sorry, like
hmm
obviously like Cole and Verlander and Kluber are all and Scherzer are all like fine because people are just gonna write it off as oh they're good pitchers like they didn't need the substance. They just wanted to improve. But like a guy
yeah,
like Tyler Chatwood, who's a free agent now, probably isn't going to get a contract.
yeah. I mean, because it's very much up in the air about his what he really is now. Because again, we don't necessarily know how long this had been going on. And I mean, if this could have been going on for a longer time, because I mean, that Angels clubhouse attendant named pitchers, you know, like Troy Percival, and that he hasn't been in the league for a long time. And you use Mero Petit, like he's still in the league. So like there's a wide range of the possible guilty parties here. And these are still just all allegations. There's no concrete evidence except for a couple texts Garrett Cole sent.
Yeah, and that text that Cole sent, it's very weird. But here's what it is. He said, "Hey Bubba, is Garrett Cole I was wondering if you could help me out with this sticky situation. Winky face, that's the weird part.
That makes me uncomfortable.
We don't see you until May, but we have some road games in April that are in cold weather places. That stuff I had last year seizes up when it gets cold.
And that is straight from Garrett Cole's phone. And it's disheartening to hear that, is it not?
Yeah, it is. But like once again, I like just because there's evidence that these guys like are asking this guy for substances. This doesn't mean that the other pitchers aren't using these substances. It just means like there's proof
Mm-hmm.
that these guys are asking this guy for this substance. So I really don't think that it's that big of a deal. Obviously, batters are able to use pine tar to get a better grip at the plate. So obviously, I know it's a bit different with pitchers using pine tar to get a better grip because that also improves spin rate. But I really don't think that
Yeah.
it's like that big of a deal.
Yeah, and yeah, a kind of a big thing that has picked up recently is, spin rate in pitches and, how much of this contribute because you look at pitchers like, I think Trevor Bauer was the big example people used and his spin rate dramatically increased this previous year when he started using uh a what do you call it, like a little gripper. And there's lots of pitchers do it. I'm not judging him, but it seems to be the new normal without really talking about it.
Yeah, I'd argue that hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in any sport, and then these pitchers get this
Hmm.
like extra advantage with this grip to improve spin rate. Obviously, that like the great hitters are still going to hit, but it really like it gives them a little bit too much of an advantage. But I still think that it's fine, like because in MLB technically it's obviously illegal to use these substances, but it seems like everyone
Yeah,
uses them now.
yeah, because I got some Bauer stats pulled up right now. His spin rate in 2019 was 2,412, and he upped it by 415. It was 2,827. Like that's unheard of. And another big thing was a lot of people were mentioning like when pitchers went to the Astros, they really got their spin rate up. That was a big thing with Cole. That's a big thing with Greinke. And it's just like, okay, so were the Astros using, said substance for a long time? Like how early in development were they giving their minor league pitchers this?
Yeah, and once again, obviously, no one really likes the Astros except for Astros fans. But uh,
Hmm.
I'm certain that they're not the only team that basically everyone uses foreign substances. But
Yeah.
it doesn't sit right, obviously, and it even more
Hmm.
like discredits the World Series that they won. But
Yeah. Sorry, keep
uh,
going.
yeah, I like I wanna like I really I want to hate on these players, but I'm being genuine. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah, I feel like these are just the guys to get caught. Like I would not be surprised, when it comes out that, practically every good pitcher in the league was using this. And, it's kind of stinks that that's probably what this is going to lead to, but I'm not sure, like it's kind of inevitable, it seems.
Yeah, and yeah, I feel like everyone's gonna hate on these pitchers for what they've done. But if that's one guy coming out and saying that these players are using this substance, you can't imagine that guy is the only guy that's handing out foreign substances.
Oh yeah.
It's
There's there,
what were you saying?
there's bound to
Yeah,
be more.
and that's the thing. It's like the only reason this guy came out and said it anyway was because he was fired because of it. And so that probably means that there's
Hmm.
more guys in every clubhouse that are handing out these substances, but they're still an employee, so they're not going to come out and say anything.
Yeah, it's it's kind of crazy. And going back to Bauer real quick, he tweeted on May 1st, 2018, if only there was just a really quick way to increase spin rate. Like, what if you could trade a player knowing that you could bump his spin rate at a couple hundred RPMs overnight? Imagine the steals you could get on a trade market. If only that existed. Obviously, calling out the Astros right there, because I mean that's he's done that a lot. And then he says, I yeah, he tries to defend himself, and it's just, he came to his senses. It almost seems like, he was priding himself for so long, being like, oh, I'm the only guy that doesn't use spin rate, but there he is in the year 2020 upping his spin rate by 400. Like, that's just unheard of.
Yeah, but Bauer is a guy that, like, if you like, I don't think they're documentaries, but they're like these mini series, like where he shows himself like using like it's basically the cameras that the Astros use to break down signs. Like, it slows everything down, so it shows him like where he can improve on his spin rate. So I think he could have worked on that, but I still
Mm,
have a feeling like almost every pitcher uses like any of these substances, not necessarily just the
yeah,
one that this guy was handing out. But
yeah, that's sadly a definite possibility. Yeah. So, I mean, it just brings into question, where else are people cutting corners? Where else is this kind of stuff happening? And I guess only time will tell. Nothing else to say, Ashton?
not really.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to Crying in Baseball Podcast. I'm your host, Logan Mealy, joined by my co-host, Ashton Youngfeld. Thank you for listening.
Peace.
See ya.